So we are seeing verbs, well, we started to see verbs. And just another quick recap. Verbs come from verb roots, like arch, shall, etc. Verb roots are the basic building block in the language. I mean, outside of course, the letters. They're the most fundamental components that you'll find in Sanskrit, and they contain meanings for all the words that you'll find. Most words in Sanskrit, you'll be able to trace back to a verb root. The verb root is modified and becomes a verb base. Sometimes the verb base is very evident. You just remove the halant. You cannot use the verb root in the language directly. You remove the halant, and then that remaining piece becomes the verb base, which you use in the language. Sometimes the verb bases are a little more fancy. So you have to be told what they are, and then you know after that, and then you use them. And to the verb base, then we add our endings. Ami, avaha, amaha, si, thaha, tha, ti, taha, anti. These are the endings we add. And I hope everyone is now getting familiar with what the endings mean in the verbs. All right, so you had lots of sentences to practice, not sentences, phrases to practice yesterday. And then I very quickly introduced pronouns. So let me go over the pronouns slowly, and then we will take up homework. A pronoun, just listen. A pronoun in English is a word that replaces a noun, right? You don't say, the boy is in the house. The boy is going upstairs. And then the boy is eating. You don't keep saying the boy, the boy, the boy. You say the boy is in the house. He is going upstairs. And he is eating. That word he, which replaces the repetition of the boy, the boy, the boy. The word that replaces that noun is called a pronoun. He, she, it, variations of that. I is a pronoun, you is a pronoun. Not you are a pronoun, you is a pronoun. The word you, I is a pronoun. There you go. So these pronouns replace nouns. Now, if it replaces a noun, that means that it has to match the noun it is replacing. That is why you will have pronouns which are first case, second case, third case, fourth case, fifth case, sixth case, seventh case, eighth case. Then you will have pronouns that are masculine, feminine, neuter. Then you will have pronouns that are singular, dual, plural. So far, so good? A pronoun must have everything that a noun has if it is going to replace a noun. What are the pronouns? We're only going to see the first case right. Meaning, I'm not going to learn how to say my or me. I'm going to learn how to say I. I eat. I go. I run. I pray. Like I. Or you. You smile. You stress. You come to class. Whatever. Right? Or he, she, it. Or that. That would be a better translation. Okay? So let me go through in Sanskrit. Then I'll take up the homework. When we take up homework, actually, if you did the homework, all your questions would have come to the surface. And then when your questions come to the surface, you yourself will have the questions. And when I say what I say, it will remove the questions and things will be easy. If you didn't do the homework, then I'll just be speaking words that make no sense. So those are the two classes of people you'll find in this class. Okay, now pronouns. Aham, avam, vayam. Again, aham, avam, vayam. Aham is I, Avam is we two. Vayam is we all. Then Tvam. Yuvam. Yuyam. Tvam. Yuvam. Yuyam. Tvam is you. Yuvam is you too. And Yuyam is you all. Then we come to he, she, that. It. Saha, tau, te. Again. Saha, tau, te. He or that, because if you have a masculine word like ratha, ratha is a masculine word, chariot. If I want to say chariot and I want to use the word, the pronoun to replace it, I cannot say it. I have to use saha because the pronoun must match the noun in its gender. So if chariot is a masculine word, then I must use the masculine pronoun. Not because it is a thing, I use it. I must use the masculine pronoun. Okay? Then, so that is masculine. Then you come to feminine. Sa, te, taha. Sa, te, taha. She or that, feminine word. Te, two of that. And taha, three or more. You will notice that te comes over here in both places so far. That means it's only by context that you will know the meaning. And then the last line, tat, te, tani. Tat, te, tani. Tat is that. Te is those, they too. And tani is they all. Please, in the English yesterday, I had written the ani, tani without the long a, so you can fix it in your books. Tani, not tani, tani. Okay, tatte, tani. So these are our pronouns for first case, singular, dual, plural, masculine, feminine, neuter. For I, you, he, she, it. Okay. Now you're correct. There's also a te in the last line. So there's te in the first line, in the second line, in the third line. Te comes so often, and it'll come more in different versions of the pronouns also. You'll see it again. By context, you know what the te is referring to. Okay? All right, so this is pronouns. Now, let us do our homework, then I'll give you a note on the pronouns. We three read. We three is vayam. That should have been very straightforward. We three is vayam. You two run. So, you two is yuvam. Yuvam dhavatah. He moves. He is saha. So, saha chalati. I eat. Aham khadami. I is aham. She speaks. Sa vadati. You worship. Tvam archasi. We two laugh. Avam hasavaha. Those two play. Tau kridataha. If you had a question, who are those two? When the gender is not clear, we default to masculine. In English also we do that. We default to masculine for simplicity when the gender is not clear. You all do japa. You yam Japatha. Disciples are eating. So now we're replacing the word disciples. Disciples is first case, plural, masculine. So it will be they. Two families are chanting. Two families is first case, dual, neuter. So it will be they. Again, they. Right? The teacher is going. The teacher is first case singular, masculine. That is saha. Now, what is missing in my homework? All the cases, all the numbers, all the genders, all the persons. This homework is a big fat 0. Please do not do that. Okay? We always, 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 always have to put the cases. I did it on purpose. I wanted somebody to ask me. Nobody asked. So I asked you. Huh? So always we put the case, gender, number. Always we put the person. Your patamaha, dhavataha, etc. already has person. You have to put person for the others. If you didn't, we're going to put it together now. Vayam. First case. No, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to spoon feed you. If you didn't put it, you're going to put it now after class. Okay? Then comes our next homework. The word was chalami. Chalami will be aham. Chalami. Again, one singular. You have to write it. I and you pronouns don't have gender. Is I feminine, masculine, or neuter? I is just I. Like that. Okay. Japati. Saha japati. Pathasi. Tvam pathasi. You read. Gachavaha. We too go. We too is avam. Avam gachava. Smarathaha means you too remember. You too is yuva. Pandavo khadataha. Two Pandavas eat. The Pandavo is tau. Saha tau. Tau is the word we replace. Acharyam archamaha. Remember, archamaha, the subject is we. We worship, so it will be vayam. Kshetre hasatha. You all laugh on the field. You all is yuyam. Shishyaha kridanti. Disciples play. Disciples plural. Saha tau te. Putraha vanam gachanti. Again, putraha is our subject. You should know that from yesterday. We're just replacing the subject. Masculine plural becomes te. Sukhaya yajamaha. Subject here is we all. Yajamaha. Vayam yajamaha. And then finally, last one is pathathaha. Pathathaha means you too read. Yuvam. Okay. So this is how we take the pronouns that I gave and we put them in the phrases that we did. Now you'll notice something very interesting about Sanskrit is that actually a single word is enough to make a sentence. Because in this single word, you have a verb root, which gives the meaning to move, and you have the ending, which provides the I part. I move. Now, later on we will learn, based on the verb base, you can tell if it is present tense, past tense, future tense. So one word can tell you so many things at the same time. It is different than English. In Sanskrit, verbs pack much more meaning into the word than an English verb does. So this verb, all the verb bases that we have learned so far, and all the verb endings that we have learned so far are present tense. Okay? So this is verbs and this is pronouns. Now a note, I'll send this to you so you can write it down in your books later. Pronouns. You know, the thing with notes is if you understand the concept, then the note is a formality. And if you don't understand the concept, then the note is just words. Huh? So try to understand the concept. See if you understand these sentences now. A pronoun is a word that represents or stands in for a noun. That makes sense? So you take out a noun from a sentence and you put a pronoun instead. Pronouns must match or agree with, the official phrase is agree with, the noun they are replacing or representing in case, number, and gender. So if I am going to be replacing the word vana, which is forest, I have to use the pronoun tat. If I am replacing the pronoun ratha, which is rathaha, which is chariot, I have to use sa. Get it? Simple. Simple rule. Pronouns don't replace things. Pronouns replace the noun, and it must match its noun in case, number, and gender. The only time gender doesn't apply is when the pronoun is I and you. But anyways, there's no original noun for I and you. So don't worry. Right? I and you don't have gender. Everything else must have a gender. I'm going slowly so everyone catches the concept properly. Then verbs. There's much more to be said and many more notes to be given about verbs, but just this much so far. A verb is a doing or action word. That is English, right? What is a verb? It's a doing or an action word. A verb must agree with its subject, means the subject that is being talked about in the verb, in person and number. That you must think about as we go along, you don't make that mistake. It must agree with the subject in person and number. Meaning, if the verb is saying, if the subject is I, then the verb must be ami. I is singular, so ami is singular, like that. Simple. We've learned it. This is just a technical way of saying what you have already learned. Okay, so now let me tell you something really cool about Sanskrit verbs, which I wanted to tell you yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to. You know when you hear the word tree, not tree, tree, T-R-E-E, tree. Huh? What, what comes to mind? Well, in English, what will come to mind is a trunk with some leaves. And if your drawing is as good as mine, this will be the best tree you can ever draw. Huh? So tree, a visual of a tree comes to mind. The way things work is name and form always go together. When you say a word, the name of a word, the form of that word comes to mind. Whether it is a physical or a subtle thing, but name and form go together. And that is where English stops. English stops at form. You hear a word, and what you think about is the thing visually that it represents. Sanskrit is different. And that is why you will hear me say things like Sanskrit changes the way we see the world. Hmm? Take the word tree in Sanskrit. The word for one word for tree in Sanskrit is padapa. Padapa literally means, see, pada is foot and pa is to drink. So padapa means what? That which drinks from its feet. Is a tree not something that takes up water from its roots and nutrients and all? It's that which drinks from its feet. So when you use the word padapa, you're not thinking about a tree as an inanimate object. The mind is reminded that it is a living being, just like us. You get that from a word tree in English? Huh? Or the other word for tree is vriksha. Vriksha. Vriksha comes from vriksh, to spread. A tree is something that spreads and covers like that. The other word for tree is tanu. Taru, sorry, not tanu, taru. Taru. Taru is another word for tree. Taru gives the connotation. It comes from trit, it's from the same root as tirat. You know the word tirat, tirtha? Because when you use this word, it gives the connotation that a tree is something that helps you to cross over sorrow. What sorrow or inconvenience? The sorrow of hunger, because it gives food. The sorrow of heat, because it gives shade. Like that. So words in Sanskrit come from verbs, and verbs have a meaning, and it shows you the function of the word. So every word that you use, every time you say it, you're reminded that it has a purpose, it has a function, it has a place, a unique importance. It's not just a thing. So when you start to use Sanskrit words and you start to see the meaning of those words, it brings a whole new perspective to the way you see the world. It is very different than English, and it is very transformative when you start to think like this. That is why you can never get the full translation when you go from Sanskrit to English just using one word. So now there's 3 words to represent the word tree. You see one of the words in Ramayana, padapa, and it's translated as tree. Like Sitaji is sitting under a padapa. That's the word Tulsidashi uses there. Padapa just means tree. But why did he use that word at that time? That you cannot put in the translation, isn't it? So like that, there is such depth and beauty to the Sanskrit language that reveals itself as you go along and study it. So this is how things work. I hope that, it fascinates me, so I'm sharing it with you. And once you start to see the roots and you start to unravel the meanings, the world just presents itself so differently in front of your eyes. Okay? All right. Now let me give you your homework and then I will take questions. So today is Friday. So that means there's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days to do homework. So the homework we're going to do is some sentences. English to Sanskrit and Sanskrit to English. And you have to figure out which one is easier for you, going from English to Sanskrit or Sanskrit to English. You do not need to go online to look for anything. All the words have been given to you already in your, the masculine and neuter table of vocabulary that we practiced. And the ones that you didn't, I tried to start writing them. If you are doing your homework and you come across a word I have not given, then just message and say, hey, this word is missing. And I'll say, oh yeah. And then I'll send it. But if you go trying to look for words, you will get really lost in the whole labyrinth of vocabulary that is out there. Okay, so if you're looking for a word and you don't know the meaning and you've checked your notes and it's not there, then just send me a quick message and I'll send it. Okay. The other thing is, don't worry about which word has to go where in the sentences. Okay, next class we will go through the rules of the order of words in a sentence. For today, the purpose of the homework is to just make sure that you can go from English to Sanskrit and Sanskrit to English. Then we will see about the order next. One thing you can do is all the verbs, you just put them at the end of a sentence. Okay, so you write all the other words and then the verb comes at the end. And that also, if you can't do or you don't want to do or you don't know where, how much space you need and all, no problem. Write it anywhere, right? Today's homework is free for all. Put any word anywhere and you're fine, okay? It's just when we're doing homework, then you have to look and be like, where is this word? And then you'll find it. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here and then I will take any questions that anyone has. Pronouns we've seen for first case, I, you, he, she, it means that. And we've seen verbs, present tense verbs. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.